Let's talk about fears. I've done a lot of research about fears, very interesting, and I have a whole whiteboard list I'm going to tell you about. Top 10 fears, the 12 most common, and 3 areas where these fears come from. So join me as we talk about fears. Research says some of the top 10 fears are open spaces, heights, flying, enclosed spaces, insects, snakes, that's one of my big fears, dogs, storms, and needles. These are phobias, or so they're called. But these are things that are like on the outside, or places that we are physically, or responses to physical stimuli. But there are also emotional fears that many of us have. And another study says the 12 most common fears that keep you from success include failure, fear of success, fear of being judged, fear of emotional pain, fear of embarrassment, fear of being abandoned or alone, fear of rejection, fear of expressing your true feelings, fear of intimacy, fear of the unknown, fear of loss, and fear of death. Now, these are all very common, top common fears of going towards success or existing in the world. And some of the fears are real, and some of them are not real. So where do these fears come from? Louis Giglio talks about 3 sources of fear. One is conditioning, another is concealing, and the third is controlling. Let's talk about those for a moment. Conditioning, where do we get these fears from? Many of us are conditioned to have these fears from our family. For example, my mom is claustrophobic, and I don't know if I learned to be claustrophobic from my mom or if I actually am claustrophobic, which I am. I'm getting better. I have to tell myself, oh, you're okay. It's not such an enclosed space. Some of us get some of our fears from our culture. Some cultures have different fears than the others. In our 77 countries, we know that Asians have some fears. Some Africans generally have different fears than others. Latin Americans, Europeans, Americans, we all have different cultural fears based on the input that we get, or true, real fears. Maybe we have conditioning from work or our friend group that condition us to have fears for a different reason. That's conditioning. Secondly, there's concealing. When we conceal or we close up the fear, or we don't really nail it on the head or observe, face our fear. We hide, we have secrets, we don't properly process those fears. That's gonna be a source of our fears as well. And the third area, controlling. When we're trying to control our situation, or we want to be controlled, for example, be perfect, or we want to not be out of our comfort zone, we don't want to be in a panic, then we're going to have these fears that might feel enlarged or a little bit out of control. And in the next section, we're going to give you a worksheet that helps you work through some of these potential fears that you have and what you can do about it.